Callie, 25 years in this industry, and at the end of the day, sales is always the name of the game.
ABC, always be closing, baby.
But you know what really works? Is when your entire organization is focused on sales.
Totally. And two guys that are doing this at the top of their game are with us today, Blake Lapinsky and Matt True with PulteGroup. Welcome, guys.
Oh, thanks for having us.
We've been doing this podcast now for about 3 years. We've interviewed more than 40 people, and we asked them a question about how'd you get into this industry? And no one ever says that they went to school for this. So what about you guys? How'd you get into the industry?
You mentioned school. I'm going to let Blake take it first because I think he's got a more direct path from that.
Alrighty. So I did not go to school to get into real estate, but I did start with Pulte right out of college. So I was recruited. Pulte had the biggest banner, the biggest position in all of the O'Connell Center when I was going through the career fair. I didn't even know what Pulte was because I'm from Gainesville, Florida. There was no new home building. You know, it's not something that you see on advertisements on a regular basis like Gatorade or Pepsi or Coke or anything. So, you know, I just kind of took a leap of faith based on his opinion and walked up to the booth. And, you know, they kind of hooked me in from day one. You know, they roll out the red carpet and they really show you the career path that new home building, you know, can be. And 20 years later, I'm still here. So pretty straight and direct path. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. How about
Matt?
You, Matt?
Has a few more twists and turns that.
You know, based on this 20-minute interaction so far, the listener doesn't know what we just went through to get here, but I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So everybody, I'm not IT. I'm in home sales, but yeah, mine took a few left turns that Blake didn't. I moved to Florida about 25 years ago. And obviously knew real estate existed and everything else, but had no idea that this side of the industry was even a thing. And so when I looked at moving to Orlando, I put some faith in a buddy of mine who said, get down here and I got a little builder you can come work for. I said, okay. And my first job was pulling permits in Polk County. And I had no idea what I was doing. They just handed me a stack of papers and said, go to this building and they'll explain to you what to do. And I said, that's fine. And I figured that part out. And then they slowly taught me other things with the builder. It was nice being with a small builder and getting to know all the ins and outs of how the industry worked. Going through a few different paths of working for a small builder, doing general real estate, did a little bit of timeshare. Going down the highway in 2014, going to a listing appointment, I saw a bunch of flatbeds going by me with trusses on them. And so I called my listing and said, I'm going to be 2 hours late. I turned around and followed them. Went to a development and I saw all this activity and I was like, I got to get back into new home sales and new home building. And so then I ended up with Pulte and 12 years later, here I am.
That's awesome. So you've been with Pulte 12 years. What about you, Blake? How long?
I just hit 20 years last month.
I missed that. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I know that O'Connell Center well. I'm a fellow Gator, so I love to hear
Gators.
that. Yeah, go Gators.
Roll Tide.
I know. All our Wi-Fi passwords are Roll Tide, just in case if you guys ever come
If anybody
to our
tries to
office.
break into anything, the password's Roll Tide.
You guys both touched on it, though, and you kind of breezed over. It's a big deal, the length of time you've been with PulteGroup, and for you to both start in that sales consultant role and work your way up to VP. This episode's not about y'all's path to power at Pulte or anything, but it says a lot about the company and your work ethic to get there. What do you think is the main contributor to staying at the company and working up to where you are now?
I think a lot of it has to do with the culture and the people that are involved in PulteGroup itself. Everybody who's been in a leadership position in my entire career has always wanted to pull someone else up with them. And I think that's really important when you look at culture and growth and development. And, you know, Blake's been one of those people for me. When he came to the division as a VP, I was a general sales manager and he had experience that I didn't. And I know that he's had similar stories throughout his career. And then we try to do the same for the people behind us and, you know, kind of show them the path that we took. And it might look different for them, but there's a ton of support in this organization to grow as much as you want. So if you're willing to put in the work, this is a spot where you're going to find all the growth that you want for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to add to that. I think Pulte's well known in the industry as identifying talent, developing talent, growing talent from within. Everything Matt said there, from the mentorship, the opportunities, the willingness for moves, lateral, moving throughout the country, moving different departments, you name it. Like Pulte really does a great job of harnessing the talent that they have in-house and just continuing to build on it. And so, you know, there's no reason to leave when you just have an open runway of opportunities in front of you. So you see a lot of people. I'm 20 years and there's multiple people in our division alone that are 25, 26, 27, so there's a lot of tenure within the entire company.
Yeah. We just got an announcement. Somebody hit 30, VP of sales
Wow.
in the Midwest. So, I mean, it's real and it's fun.
Yeah, and I see it across the U.S. because we deal with a lot of Pulte divisions, and we have, we know so many of you. And one of the things that always strikes me is that there's almost like this Pulte feeling, like when you're talking to someone from Pulte. I don't know if there's like a immersion class or something you guys go through, but you do have similar characteristics in terms of, they care. They're outgoing. They, they'll share information. When we go into Pulte, it's more like a partnership and less like a vendor, if you will, right? They do have this like team aspect, even for their consultants, and it just shines through everyone I've met so far at Pulte.
I think that's the culture from the top down. And I think we hire based on culture. For us, you might be a great salesperson and we know you're going to sell a lot of homes, but if we don't think you're going to treat the customer right, play nice in the sandbox with the other sales consultants and Pulte employees and really represent the brand in the way that we want you to, that's going to be someone we pass on. And so there's a lot of intentionality that goes into that. And you can imagine how much intentionality you have to make that, company wide, not just for one division or one department.
Yeah. I think in this industry, there's a lot of focus on the numbers. Like, what are your numbers and how talented of a salesperson are you? In an interview, we focus on that, but we talk about culture a lot. And we want to really make it known the culture that you're going to step into. And we want somebody that's going to improve it. Like we always are looking to be better. So if we're taking somebody onto our team, we don't want to wait. We want somebody who's going to help lift us up.
Yeah. And as you bring in more people who adopt the culture and they have, this vision that you have, it's kind of like a flywheel, right? And it just keeps spinning for you because you just keep adding that good energy.
Monica, as we were prepping for this, Monica was like, they're kind of like this dynamic duo. It's hard to tell like where territories split. Maybe I know y'all are both in Central Florida. So our question is then there's no cop-outs. Who's Batman and who's Robin?
Oh, you know what? This really hurts to say this. I'm going to give Batman to Blake. I'm going to tell you why. We were a good division before Blake got here. We knew what we knew. A lot of opportunity to learn from a lot of talented people in a lot of different markets. And so he brought a different way to look at things with him. And like I said, I was a GSM when he came here, and he's helped me in my growth to be a VP today. We both carry the same title. We both do a little different things for the division because we are the largest division for Pulte. So you can imagine Pulte being as large as it is, being the biggest division. There's a lot that comes with that. I'm running the day-to-day sales operations. Blake is working more globally now and kind of the business operations kind of thing. Robin's a good guy. I'll give him Batman.
That's very nice of you, Matt. I like to say it's Batman and Iron Man, right?
Oh,
I'll take that.
Let's go with that one.
Okay. All right.
Has somebody asked you that question before?
No.
Wait. Who's Batman? Who's Iron Man?
I'll be Batman. You can be Iron Man.
All right. Just checking.
Iron Man's sick. I recently just
I will
watched the
take it.
whole Iron Man series. I was like, I forgot how cool Iron Man is.
Yeah. Batman's cool too.
Yeah. All right. Now that we're talking to Batman and Iron Man of home sales. Yeah. What's y'all's favorite part of our industry? I know you've been in it for a while, so it's hard to maybe zoom out for that. But for me, like, I'll answer first while you guys can think about it. I've been in our industry for 3.5 years now. And the biggest thing for me is like land development, home building. To me, it is a really large industry, but it has like really small business feel. Like all of the relationships with our clients that we work with. Do you know what I mean? Like
feels personal.
It feels really personal.
And boutique.
And
like
boutique.
Yeah.
And stuff in our industry can happen really fast, at least from my perspective working for
or
Monica.
really slow.
Yes, there's less. Let me get approval from this manager to this director to this VP.
Right.
Like it's more like you just go straight to the guy who makes the decision. Does that make sense?
It
like
does.
That's what I've learned to love about this industry, and it's allowed me to get my hands in a lot of pieces of it and understand it and how it works much quicker than maybe if I were to enter, like the tech world or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that in the home building world that the people are more willing to bring you along, right? Yeah. To coach you through things you might not. You're new to the industry, right? You've only been in it 3+ years, and it's like,
yeah.
But everybody, like our clients and all, they're willing to like teach you things as you go kind of thing. So I just find one of my favorite things, guys, is the relationships. And I'm a big relationship person. I just love meeting people and exploring like what they're doing and how they're, winning or what their challenges are. And I just think that the home building world, like everyone is so open and willing to share. And that's something you don't see in all the industries, right? Where like a tech industry, like you were talking about, like you might not share a success with, a competitor, like Amazon might not talk to Google or whatever, but you guys all talk to one another.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, my sales partner was more experienced and somehow she knew every sales consultant in the town. And I'm sitting there, like, how is this possible? I was 23 years old. I just moved from Gainesville down to Naples. I didn't know anybody. And then after like 3 years, I'm like, oh, you all work together at some point in time, or you're trading information from a monthly comp
it's
shop.
Big, but it's small.
It is
big,
a tight-knit group. It's definitely a hidden secret as well. Like we do a lot of college recruiting and, they're lined up to go, these kids are lined up to go talk to, Hershey or, and I'm not knocking Hershey or anything like that, but it's just because of name recognition. And, people don't even realize the opportunities that home building offers because of the fact that it's not as forward in the advertising world.
Yep.
Right.
So no, I totally agree with both of you. For me, it's always come back down to the people that you're affecting, right? If you're selling a product and coming from a sales background, but being involved in every aspect of the business, if you were selling or building a product, you said tech, you're probably not hearing or seeing how that buyer truly uses that tech or how that tech changes their life. You never get to experience that. For us, it's not always, especially when you get into the roles that Matt or Iron in. So sometimes it's like you have to like force this to get this exposure. We don't really get to, now we don't get to see the end result. But a lot of times if we go to an amenity, if we go to a community event, if we do an outreach and just knock on a door and talk to a homeowner and just hearing some of the stories, you get the first time home buyers who never thought, been renting for 15 years and never thought they're going to be able to buy a home for their family, or they moved from a townhome into a single family home and how that changed their life, or they moved into one of our communities and now they have their best friends live 2 doors down that they met at one of our socials, And so it's that kind of like, I get to literally go and touch and feel and hear these stories and understand the impact that we all have. There's so many different aspects to our industry. You mentioned land development, land acquisition, amenity, development, architecture, you name it. All of them are working for the same exact goal, which is how does this make this homeowner's life better? And so that's to me the always though, if you're in a rut and you're stuck in a spreadsheet or in a project that brings you back to like why I got into this in the first place and what I love about it is that aspect of how you're changing a homeowner's life.
Blake and I have to remind ourselves sometimes, like, get out of the office. Like, you've been stuck in here.
Yes.
We were in a community the other day and I got caught up talking to a homeowner because we don't get to do that fun stuff anymore. And he's like, hey, can you come back to the meeting? Like, why we're here? I was having so much fun talking to them. But I think he's right. It's the overall impact. And I think from outside the industry, you don't realize the amount of disciplines that we touch both internally with our own employees, our trade partners, through the purchase of land, the development, the construction, the procurement side of it and contracting it, the sales, the finance, the title. There's so many different people involved in this. And then when you think about the impact you have on the community, we find a piece of land and we can bring new life to and give new opportunities to people that want to live in a certain district. And you see the excitement with people. And, we put a sign out on a piece of property sometimes a year before we get to sell a home. And we have hundreds or thousands sometimes of people on this lead bank, and you just see the excitement and we're talking to them like, I'm so happy you guys are bringing this to, and then we have a responsibility to that too. Like, we have to do it right. Like, we have to listen to who's our buyer there and who are we supposed to be serving so that we can create the desired effect that everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
I love the answers you guys just gave because it does bring it back to home, right? You're selling something that people are going to bring their child home to for the first time ever, right? They're going to send their children off to graduation, or, they're going to retire and go, and live there. Like, it's part of their lives, or the amenities. Like, I do think that's a great way to look at it and how you're impacting so many people. And I can just imagine Batman and Iron Man, like when the community closes out, they're like walking down the streets, like enjoying the,
Yeah. To your point too, Matt, when you're like, I got caught up talking to a homeowner, like there is no training for somebody like spending time on site.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's another super special thing about our industry. Like people who sit in front of a computer all day, yeah, you can learn and train. But when we get new employees, we sit in front of a computer all day sometimes for like day one, and we're like, they have no idea what we talk to them about, right? The second we step on site, it makes sense. We can show them what a lot looks like. We can show them what an amenity looks like. We show them what the welcome center is and how it all flows together. So I love that about our industry too. Like you can so quickly show somebody what we're trying to do as soon as you step on site. Let's talk about the Central Florida buyer. We know y'all are Central Florida region. First of all, who is y'all's current home buyer?
Might be easier to say who isn't.
Okay, we can do that. We can play that game.
And I don't even know who that is, because what I love about Pulte in general is, when we acquired all these different national builders, Syntex and Del Webb, we kept the identity of each one of those brands. We're serving the first time home buyer. We're serving the move up and the growth buyer, and we're serving the active adult. And so we're trying to capture anybody and everybody in every phase of their life.
Yeah.
And it's not just a rinse and repeat all the time. Buyers' needs evolve, floor plans evolve, how we have to look at a community and what we want out of it, both for the home that somebody's going to live in and the lifestyle has to evolve as time goes on, and maybe needs to serve a particular area. We try to take a look at what the needs of the buyer are today. And if we can project a little bit into the future, great. We're seeing a lot of families wanting to move to the Central Florida area. We're seeing a lot of families that want to move together. And so you see builders, and we're one of them. And I'm very proud of the all-gen product that we put out there. Families want to be together, but they might not have the means to do it in separate dwellings. And so providing them with the opportunity where multiple generations can live in a home, I think has been really impactful. And so we have, mother-in-law suites that we built in some of our floor plans. We have ADU products. We have a garage apartment over the garage. So could be for an investment purpose. It could be for a college kid. It could be for mom and dad. There's so many different dynamics. And every time we think we've thought of everything, we hear about a buyer that bought one. Like, I didn't even think about using it that way. And so I think we're always trying to keep our finger on the pulse of what the market needs. And if we can create something that matches it, we're definitely going to look into it.
Yeah, I mean, you're hitting it on the head there. I think the only two things that we don't do are the two extremes of the bookends, right? We're not a custom home builder. We're not building 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $30 million homes. And we're not, building condos, tiny homes, things like that on the very ultra affordability side of that market as well. But everything in between, we have a product, we have an option, we have a community that hits that buyer's needs. A lot of times, I know we're going to talk about some of our communities, Everbee, The Grow, Hilliard Isle, some of these communities that we call them flagship communities, because within that community, we're hitting almost every buyer along the way, and our lifestyle and our amenities and our floor plans all are set up in different series to say, hey, if I'm a young professional, I've got townhomes that meet this need. Or if I'm on the tail end and, we have people who are kind of downsizing and they want a bungalow or a townhome, that's there. Starting a family, we've got product for you. Established family, kids in middle school, that kind of age, we've got product for you. Kids in high school, we got product for you, and then beyond. And every step along the way, we can put that in one community with a massive lifestyle that can cater to every single person and bring all of those different buyers together.
I think that's one thing that sets Pulte apart is the bandwidth that we offer, which means you're offering different bandwidth in size and product offering, which means you're offering a very large bandwidth in pricing. So you're trying to meet the affordability of what that means to each family.
Are you guys hearing anything in your sales offices about is there just one question that people are asking for over and over again? I heard you mention mother-in-law suites and ADU units, Matt. I know that's a big one right now, just for dynamics of families and affordability and kids not, wanting to move back in with their parents after college. So I know that's a big one. Is there anything else that's you guys hear on repeat? For us, I oversee it. I used to, my old role, I have a new role now, but I do a lot of welcome center stuff for us as a company. And it's just time and time again, the one question we get is there a fitness center? It's so basic, right? But not every community chooses to put a fitness center in there. But that question, no matter what, is getting asked. Do you guys have anything like that right now that's kind of come up repeatedly?
Matt, I can't think of anything that I would say is universal besides probably I think affordability is a concern on everyone's mind, whether you're buying a $500,000 house, $1 million house, or $2 million house. I think everybody is mindful and aware of that.
Yeah.
In some ways a good thing, right? And in some ways a very bad thing. If I can't get into the house and I can't, I just can't afford to be a home buyer. I think everybody in the industry is being very creative. and mindful of that. Everything else is really community specific. I would say the most universal would be a focus on wellness. You mentioned fitness centers, but also walking trails and places to get outdoors. I think you're seeing a lot more of that. And I think COVID really brought that around. People were stuck in houses and they realized how they really, I want a backyard. I want a lanai. I want walking trails. I want, parks in my community, things like that, where I can get outside, enjoy the sunset, and just kind of enjoy nature and, be more active.
Yeah, we meet every week on this exact topic for flagship communities and even just an infill spot in where and when we can provide some level of health, wellness, fitness type of lifestyle. We're going to try to do it. Sometimes it's inside in air conditioning. Sometimes, to Blake's point, it's outside, it's trail. You put some monuments along the way that provide some level of activity. Activating, can you cut through an area where you can't build a home, but can you take a mile of walking trail and put it through there and give the family a place to go ride the bike or take a walk? It's important. We'll challenge ourselves and go back to the drawing board more times than we like, trying to figure the right thing out, and hopefully we get it right. But we're always trying to be innovative on how we can best serve the buyer without overextending it and affecting that affordability factor.
Oh, yeah. We know that well.
Yes.
It's what Monica built the whole business around. Is figuring out what of those amenities to build.
Let's talk some projects.
Yeah.
Let's talk some communities. How about that? Do you guys want to start with the grow?
That's a special. Actually, Ryan Marshall just talked about this the other day on an interview that he had. It's unique. It took a lot of work pulling this thing together, but the agrihood is Pulte's first. It's not the first ever, but it's Pulte's first, and definitely Orlando and Central Florida's first agrihood. It's a 2,000 home community centered around a 9-acre working farm. And the idea is that you are one with the community that you live in. Mm-hmm. You are going to be living off what the grow and the amenities are actually going to supply you and your family. There'll be CSA boxes and the lifestyle built around the structures and the community that we're going to build around the farm. And kind of like we just talked about, like 12 miles of walking trails through a lot of nature preserve and wetlands that were kept in the area. And we have a small portion of the farm open already. I have no idea the amount of produce you could create out of this tiny little piece of land. But I think they said the other day that 3,000 pounds of food have come out of it. I think it just launched in March. So to think about the impact that this could have, not only on the community, but the draw it could have for the local area. It's something special. We're just completing our models, so we're really excited to get in there. And we have a lot of happy homeowners or future homeowners that have chosen to call grow their home already.
That's awesome. So those models are open, right? I think I Googled it this morning.
They are completed. We are finalizing the sales center. So our team is still in a pretty nice sales trailer in the front there next to the working farm and the farm stand and where that whole 9-acre working farm will be. And then very different than a lot of other new developments. When you drive through here, if you didn't see all the construction going on, you would think it had been there for decades. Massive oak trees that we kept all around the community. And so when you finally get back to the first pot of homes where the model park is, we've got 5 models there. Sales center will be completely finished and decorated by the end of this month, and team will be fully moved in back there in September. And we'll have a nice big party to
It's interesting that you just mentioned the oak trees that y'all left. John Burns just sent out an email yesterday, an email blast. And it was like top 3 things developers can do right now to attract more buyers. And number 1 was keep trees that were already there on the land.
It is truly remarkable when you pull in. This project has been 12 years in the making.
12 Everybody,
years.
12 years. That's how long this stuff takes. It's wild.
Yeah.
Well,
And
a lot of work behind
this
well,
one,
I know,
yeah.
but big ones like this.
I joined the Central Florida team about 6.5 years ago, and we were talking about the grow. I had driven down that road multiple times, State Road 50. I was like, oh, which piece of land is it? Nothing was happening. We were just talking. And finally, we get to break land. And finally, the roads are in. And the first time I drove through there when the roads were, I probably shouldn't have been driving through there. The roads weren't actually in, but I couldn't help myself. And I'm meandering through the main entry spine road, and just you're flocked with these wetlands and 30-foot high oaks and cypresses and pines. And right then I was like, this is like nothing I've ever built before in my career. It's nothing I've ever seen. It's nothing I've ever sold before. You go probably a half a mile into the site before you even see your first house. And you know, the farm, it's not there yet, but you'll pass the farm, you'll pass the farm stand. You'll pass some of our amenities and everything before you even get to houses. So like when you show up, you have a sense of arrival. And it is, like I said, it is like nothing you could ever duplicate. A lot of communities, you go in there and you just level everything you possibly can. And then you have to go plant a bunch of oak trees back. Well, you're planting oak trees that are about as tall as Matt and I. They're going to take 15 years before they actually provide any shade. And here we have it built in by just being a little bit more intentional in the way that we develop the site and moving throughout the wetlands and throughout the oak hammocks to make pockets and pods. So even though it's 2,000 homes, you might live in a pod that's, that's 100, 150, right? You'll have your own kind of special, unique culture and friends and groups and things in that pod. And then you'll go down the road a little bit and you'll hit another pod. You'll go down the road a little further and you'll hit another pod. And so the farm is completely unique to Orlando. The community is completely unique to Orlando. When you put it all together, it is really something that you have to see to fully appreciate and understand it. And I can't wait to the grand opening when we can really unload the marketing machine and just get as many people out there as we possibly can.
It's going to be incredible. Realtors love to do their videos, and mostly it's in the model home. They want to show how awesome it can be to live in there. But I was just there yesterday, and there were 3 different sets of realtors, none of them at the model park. All of them in front of a trail, a tree save, the farm. So, to Blake's point, yes, the farm is unique, but you cannot find another new development community that has this feel from day one.
You forgot about the grow truck.
Oh, the truck.
One of our land guys bought an old, 1970s, 1960s truck, painted it blue. They put a grow sticker on it, and that has become the photo, what do you want to call it? But the photo backdrop of every homeowner, every realtor, every person you get to, they go by, and there's hay bales in the back of it. It was so simple, but it's become iconic to the community already. And we're just in the very, very early stages of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That truck will become in all y'all's branding.
Yep.
You can make it a logo. That's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
We will never get rid of that thing.
What other projects do y'all want to talk about?
I think right down the road, Everbee is one that we're all extremely proud of. Everbee is over 3,000 homes. It'll probably be 3,300 to 3,400 homes when we're all said and done. It's right off of 528 and 417. So it's kind of main and main. You have the most accessible community you could ever find, right next to the airport, easy to get downtown, easy to get to the parks, easy to get out to the beaches, you name it. We started there 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay, so 3 years ago. Perfect. This is another one of those communities where we have product for everybody. We opened up the community with a huge pop, a huge interest list, and then we saw another huge pop after we opened up our phase 1 amenity. And everyone was blown away by this phase 1 amenity. It has an amazing pool. It's got this beautiful modern looking trellis that runs around for shade. It's got a fitness center, some fun outdoor activities and gathering spaces. And, we're sitting there and we're like, this is nothing. People are excited about this.
They don't even know.
You see what's coming. And we're about to break ground on the main amenity, which is, it's going to be like nothing that you've seen in Orlando outside of a resort. And even I would put it up against to say that it's going to go toe to toe with some of the resorts, right? That's what Orlando's known for, right? Their theme parks and the resorts. Yeah. And this residential community in East Orlando, I think, is going to give some of the resorts a run for their money with the amenity that we're about to build out there. It's going to have multiple pickleball courts. We have a party pickleball pavilion that's set up in the middle because everybody knows that some of the fun of pickleball is when you're waiting for your court, sitting there, having a drink, talking trash about what you're going to do or what you just got done doing on the court.
Yeah.
It's got a huge event lawn where it can be, a small, 9-on-9 soccer game. It can be a movie night. There's an amphitheater. We could have concert nights out there. There's an outdoor bar. We call it a barefoot bar. It's when you kind of walk up barefoot from the pool where you can get food and drinks. And right around that, it's great because the parent can be sitting there having a drink. You could have a kid in the pool. You could have a kid playing on a playground, a very expansive playground that's on the other side of it. There's a splash pad right next to it. So everything's going to kind of wrap around this and allow that kind of, something for everybody. And you can still keep eyes on everybody. State-of-the-art fitness, a movement room, indoor, outdoor. There's a teen room. There's a toddler room. There's a little coffee shop, ice cream shop inside of it. Like pulling out all of the stops. I just saw the first AI fly through of it, and I'm
It's incredible.
right back to the level of excitement. I literally saw this yesterday, so you're catching me at a good time.
Oh,
It's going to be,
awesome.
like I said, it's just truly going to be unique to the area, and it's going to impress a lot of people.
This is how I met you guys.
Yeah, was that
This was our first
Yeah.
Everbee. This was our first project to envision that amenity.
Well,
So
we're gonna be able to share the AI video here in about a month. We're still tweaking it.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll make sure you get a look at it because you were influential in the overall design and how we're going to utilize that space.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so one of the things that I think is really cool about Central Florida Pulte is that they actually have an architect on staff.
Oh, nice.
Shannon Van Cleve, can we just give her a shout
Oh,
out?
she's amazing.
She's a rock star.
Yes.
She heads up their amenities and she's an architect. I mean, that is like a secret weapon
For sure.
inside Pulte.
Yeah.
She's
Very cool.
very, very passionate about what she does.
Yes.
She's one of those people that nothing's ever good enough, so you have to tell her pencils down. It's great. You knocked it out of the
We're
park.
stopping here. We got to move
But
on.
you know, a lot of architects are not connecting the buyer to the amenity, right? And I think one of the things that really stood out to me about Shannon and also about your team is that when I started working with Shannon, she's like, oh, let's get the sales guys in. Like, we need to hear what the sales team is going to say and what they're trying to sell. Let's get their influence as well. And you guys do like world-class research on your buyer, but she wanted to hear from you. She wanted us to hear directly from you on what you thought. And that's not as common in the industry.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. And we've seen it in the industry. We've experienced it, Matt and I, where we're getting these amenity drawings back and the architect's telling us how buyers are going to utilize the amenity. And we're like, when was the last time, and I'm not trying to be rude, but like, when was the last time you spoke to a buyer? Like, we do this every day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, when you see, there's probably like I don't know what the time is, but you can see the like change in our amenities and what we're delivering when that change happened, that instead of building the amenity and thinking that the amenity is going to be the driver of lifestyle and activity, let's talk about the lifestyle and activities that we want and build the amenity around that. And so that conversation went from, an architect and an engineer having the conversation to, and I'm not saying it's Matt and I, it was a big group of people, a lot of people involved in that who were putting input or giving input, offering ideas, offering, hey, I was at this resort and the kids were going crazy over this, and this. And really that feature that we've been building in every amenity never really got used when I saw it. And then we go back and ask the lifestyle directors and other people, like, are people using this? And you're like, no. And you're like, well, why did we put it in 3 amenities over the last, 15 years? And so that has really, really changed just the way that our processes, and then the way that we actually get to the final, product.
Isn't that crazy? Because that's why I started the company, guys, because I was on the development side for 20 years and I just saw that we were designing amenities the wrong way. It was backwards, right? We were handing over amenities to lifestyle directors and we said, just go plan stuff now. But it wasn't the right space. It didn't connect to the buyers, and the lifestyle directors had to kind of conform to a space that didn't really resonate with what the programming that the community wanted. And so now it's we completely flip-flop that. And I think your team has just done so well of getting in there and taking that aspect, that process, and just taking it all the way to the end.
Yeah. I'll give you a good line, Monica, you might like. This was from Chris Raleigh, who oversees all of our Del Webb lifestyle
Chris.
components. Yep. He said this at a meeting I was at, and it really stuck, was that the amenities are the canvas, and then the people and the activity, that's the painting, right?
Yes.
And so when he said that really resonated, that shouldn't we be thinking about the people? Shouldn't we be thinking about how they're going to use it? You can build the greatest building in the world, but if no one's in it and no one's using it, it's for nothing. Everbee, before we even got phase 1 amenity, they were utilizing this little space inside our model park. We intentionally left an event lawn in between our sales center and our models. And so this space, it's nice, it's impressive, but it's not an amenity for 3,000 homes. It's not an amenity for 500 homes. It's literally just kind of a showpiece and in an area that we were like, well, we can try to use this for realtor events and sales events and maybe some light homeowner events. And our lifestyle director really owned that space and put on some amazing events. And we had more activity and more buy-in in that space than we did in other communities where we built $10 million amenities, right? And so it proves it's not the canvas, right? It's not the building. It's how you bring the people out there, how you market it, how you advertise it, how you give the people what they want and you listen to them and create a lifestyle where people are like, yeah, I want to actually go hang out with my neighbor. And I want to meet other neighbors.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it changed. The intention changed. Like how you approach it. It's not a list. We have to have a fitness center. We have to have a playground. We have to have a pool. That's easy. Take that, put it in a building and serve it. But if you don't think about how it's going to be activated and how are the people going to use it in their day-to-day life, and that's how you start to evolve how things come together and where things should go and how you should content it based on what is a day in the life of Everbee and the grow. What does that look like? On a weekend, on a Saturday, from the moment you get up till sunset? How does your day evolve and what the community can offer you? And as a family, how would you live that life?
Yeah.
Right.
Super important.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are awesome. Everything you've said, we have a question here, but we're not going to ask it to you. You've said it in all of your answers. Like there's definitely some Pulte secret sauce that y'all have. And it's all these little pieces that you bring to the table as a developer and a builder. And it's clear y'all have it.
Are there any other projects that are communities that you guys want to talk about?
How much time do you have?
Question.
We got a lot of them.
We got a lot.
Right. Well, is there another showcase? You guys are so cute.
I would, Matt, why don't you share a little bit about Lake Haven, where we have a dual Del Webb and Lake Haven Estates, a primary community. Yeah. Very unique. This one's on the other side of town now in West Orlando in the Winter Garden, Hamlin area, right around there, right on the Claremont border of Winter Garden next to Hamlin.
Southern Hill Farms is a good landmark to kind of picture where this project is. We bought all the land around Lake Adane, and we had this vision of how could we serve everybody here. It's a big community, a total of about 1,400 homes total. And so when we looked at it, we said, I think we can serve everything. I think we can have a Del Webb on one side, and I think we have a Pulte on the other side of the lake and completely encircle everything. And so we started laying this out. We figured it out. We'll have a boutique Del Webb. So we have about a 500 home Del Webb Lake Haven on the west side of Lake Adane. Gorgeous, great gated community. Going to have a beautiful amenity center there right on the lake. And then on the other side of the lake, you have Pulte. And that has a massive, about 20,000 square foot amenity center that we're going to have in there. So again, leading very hard into the lifestyle, that Wellness Way corridor, everything that's going in between the Route 27 and 429, that whole area is blowing up. It's basically Winter Garden is starting to move further out into the next ring. In between a few communities that we have out there, we're really taking our lion's share of the market. And then Lake Haven is extremely unique because our Del Webbers have never had access to anything like this before. They're going to have their own private amenity, resort pool, saunas, fitness center, pickleball courts, lifestyle director, beautiful pool on the water, barefoot bar, everything. But then they are also going to have access to the primary. And we've never done that before. And we're really not pulling any punches when it comes to the main amenity. It's the first time we've ever done indoor pickleball. And so we tried to make something a little different. We're actually continuing to find ways to make it better. We've actually redone the building and we're happier with it now. So we have an indoor pickleball structure, also outdoor, with a fitness center attached onto that overlooks the lake. And then we have a separate building that's going to offer a food and beverage component with golf simulators, like full sport simulators on the inside. Again, something that we haven't done, but kind of leading into something that's geared toward everyone. The active adults, they're going to love golf. The kids are going to love going in there with the family and have a birthday party or something. Then you've got that beautiful resort pool on the water. And next to that, we have a movie lawn, which is actually our hero image for this community. And really has resonated with people because, you know, the fact of you being able to sit out there on the lawn, sun's going down, you have this big movie screen, you're on the lake, really sets the tone for the lifestyle the lake living lifestyle we've tried to create there. We just had our grand opening, had over 200 people there after, you know, we've sold over 50 homes. It's a really awesome kind of testimony to what we can do when we try to just think outside the box. And we're offering that area something that it hasn't seen before.
That's awesome. Yeah. Full court press on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is all the stops.
There's many more in the pipeline. There's many more that are up and running. I would just say you gotta, we would talk all day if we wanted to go through each one of them. But if someone's listening and they want more information, hop online, talk to one of our online sales consultants.
Yeah.
They can talk and give you updates on each one of these communities. But every community is unique. It's not a wash, rinse, and repeat. We try to create a different lifestyle, a different feel, different take, just so that it doesn't feel that it's not unique. That there's definitely a community that's going to fit your needs. Just got to dive into them a little bit to see which one's the right one for you.
I agree. I've seen a lot of these, and you've got a great mix with a lot of different offerings. I love it. Okay, I think we've reached our last question.
Yep, hit it.
Okay, guys. So Smith Lane, it's named after the dirt road I grew up on in Alabama. My maiden name is Smith. It was named after my father. It's where I learned everything about community and relationships. And so we ask all of our guests, what is the thing or place that you feel is your Smith Lane?
Mine's pretty clear. I grew up just outside of Gainesville, Florida, in a small town called Micanopy. The community is maybe 80 to 100 homes, if I remember correctly, but everyone was on about 2.5 to maybe 4 acres. And if you can imagine when Halloween comes around and you're an 8-year-old, that's not exciting, right? Every driveway is 50 to 100 yards apart. I would be drenched in sweat. I would probably pass out, and I'd only have like 7 pieces of candy, right? Right. And so one of the owners in the front of the community had a small little horse farm on his site, and he had a truck with a horse carriage or horse trailer, and he put hay in it. And it was, hey, all of the homeowners come up here. We'll start in the front of the community. The kids can hop in the horse trailer, and he would drive us to each driveway. We would hop out. We would run up the driveway, get our candy, hop in. You meet kids you didn't even know, because the community was, even though it was not a lot of homes, it was spread out. So, back around the bend, unless I just happened to be driving by on my bike and a kid be out front, like I may not even know that a kid lived in that house. That to me is kind of the Smith Lane moment, the first one I can think of as a child, where I really had a sense of community and a sense of like what one person's actions can do for a community. It doesn't take a lot to like bring everyone together. So that was my moment.
I
love that. I love that. How about you, Matt?
I grew up in Maine. Everywhere around there has that small town feel. Everyone lived close. There was all these little pocket communities. And I want to tell you that mine's Roaring Brook, which is the street I grew up on, but I'm going to expand a little bit and say Pine Lock. And that was the community I grew up in. And what was great is, lucky for me, I had about 12 guys my age, all in the same grade, all in the same neighborhood. And it wasn't that big. It was probably 60 or 70 homes in there. Yeah. And it didn't matter what day of the week it was. You just went around, and all the bikes in the front yard, that's whose house you were at that day. And, Steve had the pool. So if we wanted to go in the pool in the summertime, we went to Steve's house. My dad built, against our neighbor's best wishes, built a basketball court in the backyard with halogen lights so we could play at night. And he's an engineer by trade. So in the wintertime, I came home one day from school, and there was this pile of lumber in the driveway. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you'll find out. And 4 or 5 days later, all these panels he had created, he was building a hockey rink in the backyard, which was normally our baseball field, wiffle ball. So growing up in New England, everybody's a Red Sox fan. We built the Green Monster back there. You had your wiffle ball games. It was fantastic. With the halogen lights on the house, we were playing hockey until 11 o'clock at night. And he had his little Zamboni, and we'd have a ritual of going out every night and putting hot water on the ice and kind of having it glass over. And each year he kept making it better and better and better. He'd have a big water truck come and fill it up. But it was growing up in that neighborhood that you just think of Old Town USA, where, it was, no one had cell phones or anything else. You only knew where people were because of whose yard everyone's bike was in. And our front yard was always full. So Pine Lock, I always think back when we think about creating a community and a lifestyle where, I loved going through one of our communities we built and seeing kids riding their bike together in a pack. That's nostalgic for me. That brings me back. And I want to try to recreate that feel as many times as we can, because that's part of growing up. You want to have that sense of security and be able to just go out there and be a kid.
Yeah.
Goes back to your favorite part of being in our industry. It all relates back to that. It's funny, every time we ask somebody their Smith Lane too, it's easy to see the weave of what they described in their Smith Lane through their career and like how they end up doing what they're doing today. So that's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you both. This has been so great. We know you guys are busy boys, so to make time for us to join us we're super appreciative.
No, it's been a lot of fun, and we appreciate everything you guys have done to partner with us and help expand our lifestyle and our communities. And so we're happy to be here and happy to have the conversation.